Okay, well, welcome to the first themed vlog of the year, as well as the first vlog of February. We love that. Now, we have to talk about what's happening in this video, because, like, I don't think the title's gonna really explain it. Just a title being, like, reading free ebooks, for a week or something like that. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah. Basically, a few months ago, I want to say like maybe 5 months ago, who knows, time, I don't know anymore. On Dion's old Discord server, I would do this thing where I would scroll through this website called BookBub, that gives you a list of like all the book deals and whatnot, and you can usually find ones that are like under $2, and I specifically was going through all the free ones because I'm insane. And I would do this thing where every morning when I woke up, this is back when like Wordle was like still a popular thing, so I would wake up in the morning, do my Wordle, open up BookBub, and load the free books page so that it would show me the new ones for the day, and then I would find the one with the worst cover and send it on the Discord. And it was just a thing where we would talk about these really bad book covers. A lot of them, some of them looked like someone actually tried, and like, I'm assuming like these people don't have proper money or resources or something, so they tried their hardest with what they had. Kudos to them. Some of them, yeah, so I don't think any of these ones were put into the Discord. Maybe one of them. Maybe one of them. But because of this, I found many free ebooks that intrigued me, kind of. Who knows? So here we are. I did download a good chunk of free ebooks from there. Like, honestly, there's like many. In fact, there's gonna be more of them in a future video, I think in May, April. So like, yeah. I downloaded a lot of books back in the day because of this. And so I selected the 3 that were just so weird synopsis wise, and I just have to read them. Okay, I have to read them for this wonderful vlog. And of course it's in February because all 3 of them are romances. Let's be real. So yeah, I will give you the basic rundown of the synopses of what I remember of them, and whatnot, and I will start with the one that I'm going to read all of today, because technically I do have time to read all of these easily, but also like my real life bestie is coming to visit tomorrow, and she's gonna stay overnight, so like I'm not gonna have much time to read tomorrow or Friday. So I want to get ahead, and here I am doing this. And the first one is gonna be Ruby's Passion. Okay, I low-key think maybe this one had been uploaded to the Discord. I don't know. But basically, Ruby is getting married to the love of her life, all this stuff, and then it's the night of their wedding. She's expecting some spicy dance to get some lovin', and then some secret comes out and it ruins their whole entire relationship, and they have to find a way to fix their relationship. Okay, when I originally got this book, up until about an hour ago, I thought this was like a typical novel-length book, like 300 something pages. Maybe like the first like 100 pages was the getting to the finding out the secret. You find out the secret, and it's them trying to be a couple after the secret. That, listen, let's be real, the secret is the whole entire reason why I decided to download this book and choose this book. Like, I need to know what this is. I need to know. But then when I went to download it on my Kindle today, because I was downloading all of them, I wasn't sure which one I was going to read during Sprints later today. And so I went to download it, and it's about 160 pages. So I'm gonna totally be able to read the whole thing today. It's not gonna be an issue. So yeah, that's the thing. I'm honestly not mad about it because the whole entire interest point for me is this weird secret thing. And I need to know. I need to know. And because it's so short, that means I'm not gonna have to wait as long to get there, in theory. So let's go. I'm ready. I need to figure this out. Will I tell you what the secret is? I do not know. I really do not know. I may be down to just not tell the secret and then have people like DM me if they want to know it, or something. I really don't know. I'll ask people on Sprints what their preferred way is. The second one, which also may have been, now that I think about it, if it wasn't one uploaded to the Discord, it is very similar vein as a lot of them that were, which is the Titan Sunrise. There's a lot of them that have like that weird banner, and then there's like people on the cover, but then it like fades into like a landscape view, and it's a little weird. It's a little weird. There were a few of those. This may have been actually uploaded. This one is interesting. I don't remember exactly what the synopsis is, but basically, the main female character, her family has run out of money or something. I don't know. And so in order to get money back, she, for some reason, is put up for auction. And as she being put up for auction, her brother's best friend, who she's always been in love with, comes back into town, and guess what? He has money now. So he decides, hey, that's my best friend's sister being up for auction. Maybe I should save her, you know? A wonderful idea. Yeah, understandable. So he basically buys her in this auction. But because of this, technically they are legally married. And I don't know what happens after that, but I assume some chaos. Listen, I think there's only been one other book with an auction, buying the other member for auction and then leading to basically a marriage type thing, book that I've read, and that was a Katie Robert. So, in theory, I think it could work for me because I liked that book. So, yeah, no, the synopsis was just crazy enough because it was like, one, the auction thing, but two, the brother's best friend. It's got two in one for the low, low price of $0. Okay, I gotta read it, and then the last one, which is, I have noticed how long it is, when I looked it up recently. I noticed that it is almost 500 pages. Ooh, and it is The Librarian and the Orc. I am 90% sure this one did not end up on the Discord just because I tried to limit the amount of ones that had shirtless men on the cover that I uploaded on there. Because, like, some people just don't want to see that. Understandable. So I try not to use many of those. That being said, a lot of them had shirtless men. And I read the synopsis of that one. And it was, I think it's the third book in the series. I did read the synopsis of the other two and I was like, I'm good. But no, this one, I love how, in Photoshop they just made his chest green. Lovely. But basically, I don't know if she is a librarian in just general or if it's her library, but the heroine, is just living her life in this library, avoiding people, me too, living life with her books. And then, she notices there's this orc in the library. And so, she tries to get him to leave, not because of any preconceived notions about orcs that I assume that are going to be a thing, but because, he make her feel things, okay? I think in my TBR, I made a joke about how I needed some table bending action, like bent over table action, yeah. Yeah, it's also labeled as an erotica. I don't know why I need to read a nearly 500 page erotica, but I'm gonna do it. I'm ready for this. This is gonna be a fun time listening. I'm in my Katie Robert era, but I gotta wait a week for the next book in the Dark Olympian series to come out. So, like, might as well read this instead. Also, Helen has not read it. It's a miracle. It's a miracle I found one that Helen has not read. So, you know, this one is very important to see if I am straight up crazy or not. The answer is yes. But basically, to see if it is worth to pick it up, either out of pure craziness or out of it's actually kind of good. And I'm down for either one. But yeah, I think that's it. I also should mention, because I remember this just now, that Ruby's Passion, I believe, is the second book in a series. I'm not gonna like read the first one or anything. There's not really a way. I'm not gonna continue any of these series probably after this. Let's be real. So that's fun. But yeah, that's it. So stay tuned for that. I will maybe update you around halfway through. I don't know. It really depends on what's happening on sprints and whatnot. But I'll see you at least probably tomorrow morning with my thoughts about Ruby's Passion. Hello, I'm gonna make this fast because my shoulder / back is killing me from helping H with some stuff, which I normally would say is a sign to you, H, that I love you, but actually I think it's just payment for forcing you to listen to me talk about this book so long. But before we talk about what I read, I was talking about these books on Sprint, right? And it turns out I got the synopsis to Titan Sunrise completely wrong. Where did I get the auction part from? No, honestly, like where? I was gonna cut it out, but then I was like, no, I want to keep it in because I want to know what that book is. Because I must have gotten it from. Yeah, like, can I talk anymore? No. I had a whole entire existential crisis about this. I don't know what book this is, and I want it. But Titan Sunrise is not that. Titan Sunrise is, I mean, technically, she has always had a thing for her brother's best friend. And then he moves away to become, make some money or something, I don't know. And then her parents are brutally murdered, and her brother tries to sell her off to a guy who she doesn't love to be married. So she breaks off the engagement and goes off into the wilderness or something to confront the person who killed her parents. And while she's out doing that, Mr. Love Interest, who is brother's best friend, shows up. And apparently he has like a past of violence, so I assume he helped her out. I don't know. It's also kind of short. It's like under 300 pages. According to my Kindle, it's like 200 something. So I can do it pretty fast, right? Right? Even though I'm not as excited now. What was the auction plot? Where did who did I? That's not important. We need to talk about Ruby's Passion. I did read the whole thing today. Listen, just skip to the next clip. I'll tell you that I rated it 2.5 stars now. So like, if you don't want to know what the secret is, because you want to read it yourself, I guess go for it. It's kind of short. It's like 160 pages. You can do it. It's on Kindle Unlimited. Skip to the next clip. If you don't care, basically, the secret is that, so like she's in their bedroom the night after their marriage, and he's not come to the room. She waits for a very long time. She decides to eventually get up and try to find him. And he's winking one out to a photo of her stepmom. When I tell you, I was hysterical. I was almost crying. Like, there were tears in my eyes. I was cackling on sprints. The noises I made throughout reading this book are inhumane. Like, I think I became another being reading this to get through it, and then I made weird noises. I don't know what was happening. This book. So yeah, that happens. And then the next day they are going to Manhattan because that's where his parents live, and his dad's been really sick recently, so they weren't able to come to the wedding. So that's basically their honeymoon. And his family is like rich now and whatnot, so they go on the honeymoon. She is understandably upset and doesn't want to talk about it. He tries to apologize and whatnot, but she has a lot of insecurities about how she looks, and she takes it as one, him not being into her because she is not the ideal woman, I assume, but also because he loves her stepmom and could never love her. And she is told at one point, she goes to her stepmom's and is like, hey, this happened, like straight up tells her, and the stepmom is like, well, you do act and look very childish, and that's probably why, and blames her for it. And it's like, you gotta dress up more like an adult. Dude, if she wants to have her hair in braids, let her have her hair in braids, okay? Like, I don't yeah, it's a lot of time on the train of him being very angry that she's upset with him and not understanding why she's upset. He understands, from his understanding, she's upset because of the act that he did. And she's like mad about the act. She's like, okay, whatever. The issue for her is really the fact that he was doing it on their wedding night, and for her that means that he could never be into her. He does not find her desirable, right? Right? Now, communication in this book is not there. I understand it from her end, because she is going through a lot of internal stuff, experiencing everything that has happened. She does not want, like, I get it. But if he just went to her and explained his reason why, because you get both point of views. I know why. He knows why. So if he had just gone to her and is like, hey, this is why that was a thing that was happening. I'm sorry for how this made you feel and all this stuff. He wasn't really sorry for the act. He was mostly sorry for how it made her feel. And I'd like to make it up to you, but if you want more time to think about it, that'd be fine too. But that never happens. He never tells her why until the quite literal last page. Anyways, yeah, so she's like been in love with him like most of their lives, and he still just sees her as like a sister type figure. Basically she's been taking care of him for like the past 8 years. Like, yeah, it's kind of insane. Ever since his family moved away when he was 16, she's been taking care of him, and she was like 10 and her mother had just died. Yeah, so, you know, that's lovely. I don't know. And a bunch of other stuff happens. They end up at his parents' house after the 4-day train ride in Manhattan. His dad is like straight up dying. He does die in the book. But during their time there, it's a lot of everyone dressing her up to be more like a woman, including in like mostly satin and corseted dresses, which, like, hear me out. One, the fashion and the actual time period do not connect at all. It's more of a vibe, okay? But two, I get that she is currently in high society New York in all these dresses, so like buying a few for her time there makes sense. But when they go back to Oklahoma, she is living on a rugged farm in the middle of nowhere, which means that her dresses that she's getting will not be useful for this. And then, like, people quite literally mention like burning her old dresses that she like made herself, and like, or some of her favorite dresses and all this stuff. And she's like very distraught about this and thinks that everyone doesn't find her like attractive because she's just a simple farm girl and all this stuff, and that's why they're dressing her up and putting her in all this makeup, which really is not helping her insecurities. What doesn't help is that James Lucas, that's his name, by the way, decides for some reason, as soon as she starts dressing up more womanly, quote unquote, aka not like herself, he starts actually being attracted to her. Yeah, of course he does not mention this to her. Why would he tell her that he's attracted to her? You know, I don't know. So, yeah, that's a thing that happens, and whatnot, which really just strengthens her thoughts on this whole thing that never gets resolved, by the way, and whatnot. Eventually, they do the deed. They do the deed multiple times, let's be real. I think it's a total of 4 times in the book, and it's only 160 pages, so like, yeah. But basically, she decides that she can love him and still be with him, because the love of having children will satisfy her enough to be happy in this marriage, and then he gets to be with a woman, I don't know. So and then his dad dies, and he gets very distant and whatnot, and she's like, you know what, I am not going to like you know, help you move on with sex. At one point he is blackout drunk basically, and he just takes her, and she's like, I don't think he's gonna remember, and he like low-key remembers, but he's like thinks it's a dream. So that's fun. Yeah, no, at this point he's like realized that she's with him to have children, and he's all like, you're using me to have children, and she's like I'm like, but why is you having relations with her? Like, 'cause you haven't told her that you like her in any way. So yeah, and you're not like informing her of your feelings in any which way, whatnot, you know, good times. They return home, a bunch of stuff happens. I am really skimming the bottom of the barrel, right? Like, I am not telling you much of anything really. It's really crazy. At this point, I think I've blocked out half of it already, and it's only been a few hours because I don't want to remember. Yeah. They eventually return after his father dies with his mother and whatnot. And then his mother forces them to break up. She basically tells Ruby that the whole entire marriage is a sham, and the only, like, she thought that her son could love her, and that's why she forced the marriage for so long. But Ruby can never be happy and all this stuff, and forces Ruby to basically run away from him for like multiple months. And then after the fact, she's like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm actually the one that forced her to leave. I'll go find her in Manhattan. And he's like, cool. Also, how dare you? And then he goes running on a horse through the woods and ends up accidentally finding Ruby, who actually stayed in town the whole time. And then yeah, and then he finally tells her that he loves her, and she's like, oh, cool, yay. And they're happy together. What happened with the mother? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it was giving me many Gaslight type vibes. Like, she would be upset. Like, it'd be only 2 days after everything that happened in the beginning of the book. Like, the first few pages. And like, she'll still be upset for obvious reasons. You know, she's in the right. I'm just gonna say it. And he's all like angry at her for being upset with him and storms out. And that makes her upset that she's making him feel such a way. Not great. The way that she is forced to change how she looks in order to appease not only him, but like everyone else around her in a way that makes 0 sense. Like, why can't she just have her hair in braids, fam? I don't understand. And then also there's the way that, like, it's mentioned multiple times, according to James, that like for as long as he's known her, she's like been very kind and nice and caring and all this stuff. And when all this stuff starts happening, she starts being standoffish and whatnot. And like, he's like, I've seen her be angry, but like never to me, or never this bad. And it's like, cause you never had to experience it, and all this stuff. She just took care of you, and yeah, it was very much a he takes in the relationship, and she gives, and then when she finally wants something back, when she finally wants some kind of emotion back, he's just like, no. Until the very last page. So that whole thing happens, and it happens multiple times where she'll be like standoffish towards him and whatnot, but nice to like everyone else. And he's like, how come everyone else gets to be very kindly treated and not me, and all this stuff. and whatnot, and all this. And then by the end of the book, it is described that she is better now, like personality-wise, because she's more confident and stronger because she was thrown into the real world because of all of this. And because of all of this, she is a more strong-willed person and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? Also, the fact that he was winking one out to her stepmom's photo isn't that bad, because at least he didn't sleep with another woman. That is his one argument. Halfway through the book, that is an argument. Yeah. Anyways, I rated it 2.5 stars. It honestly wasn't as bad. I mean, I guess it was that bad. It was definitely a 2-star. But I had such an experience in it that like I couldn't do it. I'm like, there's no way I could give it 3 stars either. So I had to do 2.5. But yeah, I read it. I'm gonna go scream. Yeah. Makes that sense to me. And I don't know when I'll talk to you. Probably when I read any of Titan Sunrise. Hello, we are back, and I look like a mess. We are not gonna talk about it. Okay, so is this book. Let me first off say that the next bit, for a good chunk of this, I will be comparing the first 2 books in this video. So just know that. And yeah. So, basically, both times when I gave the 2 different synopses for Titan Sunrise, I was both right and wrong for both of them. Okay, let me explain. Now that I have read something, I can actually tell you what actually kind of happens. So basically, yes, her parents have been murdered. Yay. They believe that the person who did it was Alex, the childhood best friend of Henry, the brother, who went off to become a pelt hunter or trapper in the wilderness when he was kind of young, right? And it's like this whole big thing. Evie, that's her name. Evie kind of had a thing for him back then and all this stuff, right? So they think that he came back, killed the parents, and ran off, and whatnot. And Henry wants to go after him. So he does the only thing he can think of to do with his sister, which is to basically sell her off to this guy she really doesn't like with the property they own. To this guy that she doesn't like without telling her, and it's like, okay, now you're gonna go marry him tomorrow. He also gets the house, and I'm gonna go off into the wilderness and probably die. Bye. And she's like, no. So she decides to try to join him, sneak onto the boat, but then this Frenchman kind of stops her but kind of joins her, and then the boat is overtaken by the people that he like hired to take him out and hunt Alex, right? They take over the boat and basically kill him. I'm laughing because, like, I'm saying this very straightforward. There's a bunch of other stuff that's happening, but also nothing's happening at the same time. It's, yeah. So, and then they take Evie captive, to basically sell her, on auction, and whoever buys her does marry her legally. So technically both of them were right. And Alex is the one, he notices that's her and is like, I will give up half a year's worth of pelts for this woman. Turns out the Frenchman who sold her and all this stuff is actually a guy who's working undercover for Alex, to stop the guys who took over the boat and did all this stuff, right? And he wasn't able to stop the killing of Henry, but he was like, hey, I should at least save this woman, and I know Alex will take her, so I'll make sure that he knows that she's here and all this stuff so that he can straight up buy her, and all this fun stuff, and whatnot. Alex is very strong in the believing that he was not the one to kill her parents, and then he was randomly shot. I have thoughts. I have theories. Okay? My main theory at this point is that basically, Charlie, the guy who she was basically sold off to marry originally, by her brother, right? Who she never really liked, he once tried to drown her. And then since then has been, like, trying to marry her. And she's like, no. No. And so I have a theory that, in order to get her hand in marriage, because, he knew that her parents wouldn't let him, take her as his, without her consent, he decided, the best way to do that would be to kill, their parents, and then, trick Henry into letting him marry his sister so that he can go off and find whoever killed his parents. But at the time when he was doing this, Alex was there, showing up in town for the first time in 6 years, and came across the bodies first, and then Henry showed up to see him there and over the bodies before Charlie then shot Henry, or not Henry, Alex. Shot Alex, and then Alex ran off. Right? That's my theory. I will never know because I DNF'd it. This is the part where I start comparing, okay? Since this is technically the in Sunrise section, I will still have the cover for that book up. For that whole time, because we can only have one up, but I don't need to talk about it. Editing me will have a fun time. But, basically, I DNF'd it at 53 pages, which is about a quarter of the way through. One, I've learned in the past, like, 3 months, characters, really important to me. If they are really crappy characters, especially when characters are crappy to other characters for no perceivable reason, then I cannot enjoy the book. It really, I don't know what it is about that really irked me. I cannot enjoy that book. That's the thing in this book with, like, literally every male character. And some of the female ones too. We have met, by the time I finished, you have met 2 other female characters, which is basically where Alex lives, the medicine woman and her daughter. And the daughter's like, you know, it's not that bad that you were brought by Alex. And she's like, it's not that bad that my brother was brutally murdered in front of me, and then I was brought here against my will to be sold to a man. And she's like, that's not. Yeah. People don't think before they talk in this book. Apparently. I don't know. So that's the thing. Now, I think, like, minimum it would have been a 2-star, like, and all this stuff. And you may be wondering why I would DNF this one and not Ruby Rose. And here's the thing. I had a fun reading experience with Ruby Rose. I may have hated that book. Well, I didn't hate it, but I may have disliked that book. But at least I had a fun experience, right? For 10 Sunrise, it's not a fun experience. I hated every second of it. The writing, not good. The characters, not good. The dialogue, not good. The plot, anger-inducing. I didn't care at all about the relationship. In fact, I don't want them to be a couple. Because even though he, most likely, I'm pretty sure is not the actual killer of her parents, the fact that he has basically mistreated her whole entire childhood, and then as soon as he sees her as an adult, he's all like, bazingas, a woman, attractive. Yeah, and, he does not want to get angry with her and all this stuff. It's giving me ick vibes. It's giving me ick vibes. Like, even if he didn't kill her parents, there's, like, this whole thing where he's not the same person. Like, she's definitely not the same person after all this trauma she just went through, right? But he's also not the same person in a much bigger scale, for the past 6 years. So he's not the person she fell in love with, and all this stuff. Okay, I don't think they would be a good couple in the long run. Yeah, and then the racist vibes. I feel like why does this happen to me in every Western romance I read? I mean, I guess Ruby Rose technically wasn't, I mean, yeah, that one was technically Western, but like most of it took place in Manhattan, so like was it really a Western kind of vibe? So I'm half counting it, and that was not racist. This one, listen, a lot of the language that was used, I was worried about, and then when I went to put in my tracker and I saw that the year that it was published was 2013, it all just clicked in my brain. It just, basically, yeah, I was worried when I went to pick it up, when I saw that it was, takes place in the 1800s, in the, Midwest, right? I don't know what state she starts in, or what state she ends in. Like, I don't know. I just know it's in the Midwest, in the plains, right? And that I was worried that the way that it would treat Native American characters was not gonna be the best. Let's just say the term savages may have been used a few times. Yeah, it gave me the ick. I was like, I'm good. No. And then there's some other things just thrown in there that I'm just like, I'm good. I do not need to ingest this in any way. At that point, when I finally DNF'd it, I was gonna DNF it earlier, but then I started to recognize that maybe the original synopsis that I thought it was actually like happening. So I continued to read, but I wasn't like reading. I was barely reading a sentence on a page. Okay, let's be real. I was not even like, I couldn't count it as skim reading it if I did finish it the way that I was reading it. So like, yeah, it's not worth it. No, it's done. Bye. Which means, I get to start the book I'm most excited for in this vlog. The Librarian and the Orc. I don't know if I'm gonna start it today. I don't think I'm gonna have much time to read it tomorrow, but you know, that's fine. The issue is that book is almost 500 pages, so it's gonna take me some time. But you know what? I'm excited, and I keep on rubbing my leg against a bag that's back here. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Please accept my DNFing of this book, but I have decided to more actively DNF books this year, so you know, it's fine. Hello, I'm here with my hot chocolate, wearing a flannel over a crop top, because that's the level of gay I am, with my still damp hair, because I was so smart this morning and spilled coffee in my hair. So I had to wash it. To inform you that this vlog is over. It's done. The past 4 days, including a little bit today, I've been trying to read The Librarian and the Orc, okay? Now, there were 2 ways this book could have gone and I would have had a good time. It could have been really bad, and it could have been, like, some of my favorite movies are bad movies. I love bad things sometimes. Like, when I've recognized it was bad and rated it 2 stars and then still just had a good time, yes. And I would have been very happy with that. It also could have just been surprisingly good, and I have a good time. Instead, what I got was meh, mixed with magical pregnancy / abortion. I'm good. I don't, yeah, no. No. I read 117 pages, I think, about a quarter of it. I think it was 24 when I just checked. Yeah, I'm good. 1, why is this almost 500 pages? Like, honestly, why? 2, the smut, I'm not here for it, okay? Give me some Katie Robert, please, okay? Thank you very much. 3, I guess I should just, like, actually talk about the book and what it's about and whatnot. Basically, Rosa, that's another thing. Her name's Rosa, and eventually his nickname, dwarfs from well, he does still call her Foolish Woman almost all the time, instead of, like, ever using her name. But when he wants to be nice to her, and wants her to do what he tells her to do, he calls her Little Rose, and, I may have gagged once or twice last night. Also, if I see the word viscous about bodily fluids during a steamy scene ever again, I'm just gonna bash my head in. What? No, it's almost constantly. It was viscous and prick, and I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. Anyways, her name's Rosa. She works at this library. She is since she's a woman, some people aren't the biggest fan. Technically, the position of librarian is taken up by scholars for the university that runs the library, but she can't be a scholar because she's a woman. And so the patron, she has like a patron who like got her the position, which means like she doesn't have money for like anything really, because like the money for the position is to actually just like be as a benefit to typically rich white men who are already going to the school who have the position. So that's a thing. And the reason why she has the job from this patron, who is this not particularly rich guy, he kind of needs money. He's trying to marry for money, who is the second son of a titled guy, and very powerful. Let's just say, she gets him off and she keeps her position. It started out consensual. From the sounds of it, it did start out consensual. But the consent current times in the book is dubious at best. Okay, because like there's like one part where he forces her, not really, but he like hints that if she doesn't, that she will lose her position, and all the stuff, and if she loses her position, she doesn't know what she'd do otherwise, and all this stuff, and whatnot. So basically, she has to sleep with him to keep her job, and all this stuff. And she's like not the only one. Like he has like 10 mistresses and all this stuff. He's not the greatest, okay? We're gonna call him White Guy because I don't remember his name. It was a very fancy type name. We'll get to the other character's name. H notes. But basically, there has very recently been a treaty with the orcs. That means the war that's been going on has stopped, and whatnot. And he's been given the job to basically make it so the war can happen, but without costing them money, by going around the treaty, which the best way to do that is to like have the people fight up against the orcs on their own. Like find a reason why the people would dislike the orcs and then use that hatred on their side, right? Except he doesn't do his own goddamn job. He has Rosa do it. Which is fun because she can't be a scholar because she's a woman. And he's a scholar, and yet she does all the work for him. Therefore, she's a scholar in everything by name, okay? And whatnot. And that's the whole reason why he has, like, everything he has at this point, is because of all her work. And she does get him to low-key agree that if she does it, that he will support her to, become a student. Yeah. She's gonna try, but she needs someone to stand behind her and be like, hey, let her in. This is a good reason. And that's like another thing she wants him to do. And she's been like, apparently been trying to get him to do this for like a long time, and he finally agrees. Kind of. I'll never know if it actually happens because I DNF'd it. But, you know, and all that stuff. So she has to do all this research for him. He's going away for a few weeks, and when he comes back, she has to have the information. Later on, there is a letter that if she doesn't have the information for him, then not only is she fired and thrown on the streets, and all this stuff, basically her whole life will be destroyed, and she quite literally thinks it'd be better to just die. Which is lovely. And then the next morning, an orc is in the library, and she's like, oh, fuck. She's like, oh no, oh no. So the next morning, there's an orc at the library, and she's like, oh no, And technically, because of the treaty, he's allowed to be there. But then it turns out the reason that he got in there is because he broke the lock. Not knowing that it was technically a lock, but that's illegal. And part of the treaty is that orcs can't do illegal things in the human realms, right? Makes sense. And so, technically, she could have him thrown out and killed, but she doesn't want to ruin the books. So instead, she makes a deal with him to, like, go into the back room that is White Boy's back room, technically. Thank you, Bug, for going around the background. And stuff, and over time, like, throughout the day, she tries to make deals with him, because, like, she's reading books for this research, and it has found that, these books are not good sources. They're all written by human men, which means there is no actual literature by orcs about orcs, or interviews with orcs about orcs, or any of that stuff. She's like, there is an orc in the library, maybe I can ask him. And she tries, like, anything, including, throwing herself at him, and he's just like, nah, I'm good. But then by the end of the night, he's like, actually, I will take you up on that offer, but instead of me giving you information, you will just let me read the books in the library, and I'll sleep with you. And then it happens. I don't understand. And then that happens. But then it turns out, apparently, orcs very fertile. So she preggers, or going to be preggers, no matter what. And the only, like, way that can be stopped is with orc magic. So that means he has to take her to his orc home. I got to the point where she got to the orc home. Here's the thing. Here's the real issue. There's, like, other stuff that happens. Apparently, giving an orc a BJ really, filling. Thank you, Fridge. Thank you. I'm just gonna leave you on. I don't care. Very filling, sustenance-wise, for humans. What? I don't know. Why did I read that chapter last night? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, no, a lot of the book is, like, him being incredibly mean to her for no reason, berating her for sleeping with white guy, calling her bad at her job, like, the only thing she really has in life is the fact that she knows that she's good at her job, but he, like, constantly berates her for being bad at her job, without, like, never actually seeing her do her job. So, like, how would you know? But he just assumes she's bad at her job because the only reason she has the job is by sleeping with white boy and all this stuff. Maybe the reason why she has to sleep with white boy is like, the actual issue here, okay? And, like, makes her, feel bad about her body, and all this stuff, like, almost constantly, and then every once in a while, he'd be like, I'm sorry, I didn't actually mean I want you to die, I'm just saying you're going to die if you give birth to this baby, so we gotta go do this magical abortion. And she's like, what? So it's literally a constant cycle of him saying really mean things to her, like, really mean things, berating her a lot that makes her feel really upset and uncomfortable. She almost has, like, panic attacks multiple times, because of it. And then, using, like, going little Rose and, like, putting his, hand against her cheek or a claw against her cheek, and then, saying, do this thing for me so that she'll agree. And then she agrees to do the thing, and then she's scared of the thing when they go to do the thing. I'm not even talking about sexual things, I'm just talking about, like, going to the land of orcs, as a human. And then, she's scared, and then he's all like, it will be fine, you're just a small, foolish woman. He constantly calls her foolish woman, all this stuff, and yeah, also the orc's name is John. That's another. The way I literally screamed, his name's John? To H last night. Yeah. So, yeah. It's a lot of, basically, she's currently in an abusive relationship that's very, not even one-sided. It's just, yeah, with white boy. And, in a way to try to get out of it and get her dreams, she enters into a relationship with, I mean, kind of a emotionally abusive. I can see where it's because of the cultural divide type thing, but, like, if he just sat there and explained things to her or just talked to her, this wouldn't be an issue. Like, none of this would be an issue, and I don't And then the way that he talks to her brings up the trauma of her current abusive situation, and it's just, so yeah, Helen is not good, don't read it. That's the moral of the story, don't do it. I felt very bad about DNFing this book, because that would mean, I only read one of the books for this vlog, and I rated it 2.5 stars. Yay! I have learned that character interactions and how characters treat other characters is really important to me. And that was kind of my main issue in kind of all of these, but the first one was okay because I had the point of view of both of them, so I knew why. Okay? I knew why. Let me explain. In Ruby's Passion, we all understand that Lucas James, is that his name? That came out of left field. How did I remember that? He was definitely in the wrong. God, that book was a ride. Why couldn't the librarian and the orc be like that? But yeah, no, he was definitely in the wrong and whatnot. And he was like sometimes very mean to Ruby. Kind of like almost gaslighty vibes. But like by getting his point of view, I understood where he was coming from. I knew where she was coming from. It was very much just a moment of like, if you just sat down and talked about what was going through your heads, we wouldn't have this issue. The end. And then, in Sunrise, the urge to really turn off the fridge because it's being really loud right now. In Sunrise, technically, you also get both point of views in that one, but you get almost none of Alex. And I don't understand how a romance is supposed to come from a forced marriage to the guy that you think murdered your family. Yeah. And so yeah, it wasn't good. And then also there's like just the hint of racism that kind of just like pushed me over the edge. I was done. No. And then the librarian of the orc. Listen, I don't want magical pregnancy, magical abortion, and man berating you for your abusive relationship with another man. Like, I'm good. Maybe if I had John the Orc's point of view, I would understand where he was coming from or something, but I don't even think that would help because, like, I get it that, like, he doesn't understand, like, he doesn't know the first time when he does it that, all the background that we as the reader from Rose's point of view know. But it's very obvious. Like, every time he mentions it, she flinches and her heartbeat, rises really high. She starts to sweat and he can smell all this stuff. So, like, he should be able to magically recognize, not even magically recognize, it's just obvious. He should be able to recognize that it makes her uncomfortable and stop or ask questions or maybe just have a conversation in general. But no, why would we do that? Anyways, this vlog's been a mess. I'm gonna go, ending stuff, linked below, all the social medias. I say social media, it's basically Goodreads and Instagram. I post reviews on both, so that's fun. The next vlog that should come out is the weekend reading vlog. That is the first one with the TBR jar, so let's hope for good times and not romance because my brain. And yeah, I'm gonna go like and subscribe. I guess that's it, and I will see you next weekend. But also Wednesdays are read with me's. There was one this week, there's gonna be one next week, so come back for any of that stuff. Okay, bye.